Hey, welcome. So, if you're running a business, you know this feeling, right? You are pouring your heart and soul into creating content. You're posting every day. You're doing all the things you're supposed to do. But the sales, they're just not showing up. It is one of the most frustrating things ever. Today, we're going to dig into exactly why that's happening and, more importantly, how we can fix it. So, let's just start with the big question right off the bat. How is it possible for a piece of content to get tons of likes, maybe even go viral, and still not move the needle on your revenue? You see it all the time, right? A competitor does something super simple, it blows up, and meanwhile, your amazing, well thought out campaign, crickets. It just doesn't feel right. But trust me, there's a very clear reason this happens. I mean, just look at this. You scroll through your feed, especially in a super crowded space like, say, food, and you get this weird sense of déjà vu. It's like everyone's using the exact same red and orange colors, the same kind of slogans, even the same trending audio. It's like walking into a hall of mirrors. Everyone looks and sounds the same. And when everyone's the same, nobody stands out. And that leads us straight to our first huge idea here, the generic content trap. See, the problem isn't that you're lazy or that you're not trying hard enough. The problem is that when you're swimming in a sea of sameness, just trying to be a little bit better is actually a losing game. This quote from Marketing Week just hits the nail on the head. Being better doesn't mean being bought. We all fall for this, thinking, oh, my product is just a little bit higher quality, so of course people will choose me. But here's the thing, your customers aren't in a lab, meticulously comparing your product to others. They're distracted. They're scrolling on their phone. If you don't look different, you just get skipped. Simple as that. And this gap right here is where potential sales just vanish. A Nielsen survey found something pretty staggering. While 70%, a huge majority, of small businesses think they're unique, only 21% can actually prove it in a way customers understand. That massive disconnect is the reason so many great businesses just get lost in all the noise. So, what's the consequence of being stuck in that gap? Well, you risk becoming what I call a ghost brand. And yeah, it sounds a little spooky, but it's a very real thing for businesses that just don't manage to stand out. So what is a ghost brand? It's a business that exists on paper, but to customers, it's basically invisible. No one sees it and no one remembers it. Imagine you're walking down the street and there are two food stalls. One has a sign that just says, "We sell food." The other says, "Grandma's Secret Recipe Meatballs." An hour later, which one are you actually going to remember? It's not about being the best, it's about being the one they can't forget. And if you need a hard number to really let that sink in, here it is. Research from the legendary Ehrenberg-based Institute found that a brand that looks and sounds just like its competition has only a 30% chance of being remembered. That means 70%. 7 out of 10 of your potential customers will completely forget you exist, no matter how much money you throw at ads. So this is the big turning point, and it was captured perfectly by marketing legends Al Ries and Jack Trout. They said, "Positioning is not what you do to the product, it's what you do to the mind." The battle isn't on the shelf or in the newsfeed. The real battle is for a tiny piece of real estate in your customer's brain. And the way you win that battle is with positioning. Okay, so this is where we get to the solution. If being generic makes you invisible, then having a clear, powerful difference, your positioning, is the secret to becoming unforgettable. So, what is positioning really? In the simplest terms, it's deciding what you want your brand to be known for. It's not a fancy tagline. It's the one single, unique idea or space that you want to own inside your customer's head. So when they have a certain problem, your brand is the very first thing that pops into their mind as the solution. Let's look at how this works in the real world. Here's a frozen food brand. Before, they were just stuck posting about discounts and promos. Super generic, right? But then they shifted. Their new positioning became the busy working mom's morning savior. Whoa! Instantly, they're not selling food anymore. They're selling time. They're selling peace of mind. A real solution to a very real emotional problem. Here's another amazing example. A skincare brand went from this generic promise of brightens your skin, which, 1,000 other brands are shouting, to something incredibly specific, halal skincare for young women in hijab. Now think about it. For that audience, this brand just went from being one of the options to being the only real option. That's powerful. And let's look at one more, just to really see it in action. A hijab brand went from something vague like stylish and affordable to a super clear mission. modern, modest hijabs for the active Muslim woman. Now, any woman who goes to the gym or is chasing her kids around immediately thinks, yes, that's me. This brand gets me. You become the obvious choice. Okay, so all this probably sounds great, but the big question is, how do you actually do it? Where do you even start? Well, the good news is, it's not some kind of mysterious magic. It's actually a system. Let's walk through a really simple blueprint for finding your brand's unique direction. You can really break it down into 4 key steps. First, you have to uncover real insights about your customers, what they actually want and need. Second, you use those insights to formulate your unique positioning. Third, you define the emotional value. Are you selling convenience, confidence, security? And fourth, and this is so important, you test everything for consistency, making sure every single thing you do reinforces that one core idea. That's how you build a brand that actually sticks in people's minds. And that really brings us to our final and maybe most important takeaway. Chasing after the latest trend might get you a little bit of attention for a second, but building a brand on a clear, consistent position, that's what builds a business that actually lasts. At the end of the day, people don't remember you because of one viral post. They remember you because of the pattern of who you are, over and over and over again. So I'll leave you with this one question to really chew on. When a customer thinks about your industry, what is the single most important thing you want them to remember about your brand? Seriously, think about it. Because the answer to that question, that's your first step toward finally turning all that great content into actual customers. Thanks so much for tuning in.